Thanks for watching this video. I hope you're enjoying this top 5 players in each NFL team's history series. Again, as I've said before, if you've missed your team, missed some of the other videos as a part of this series, I'll put the playlist in the description box below, so make sure you check them all out. Let me know your thoughts on all of my lists. I look forward to seeing your feedback. Today, we're here to talk about the organization that used to be the Houston Oilers, and they are now affectionately known as the Tennessee Titans. So I'm here to talk about the top 5 players in the history of that organization, spanning from their time in Houston back to the AFL days, and then, obviously in today's modern times as the Tennessee Titans. Some of the players that, are of note, but ultimately missed the list for me with this team. I look at guys, Hall of Famers, guys like George Belanda, guys like Elvin Bethea, guys like Mike Munchak, guys that aren't in the Hall of Fame, maybe guys like an Eddie George, some of the better players in that organization's history that just weren't good enough to crack this top 5 list. Now, I wonder if I'll get some disagreement over this top 5 list, but again, it's my list. You guys are welcome to let me know your own list or what you think of mine. But here we go. Top 5 Houston Oilers / Tennessee Titans in the organization's history. Number 5. Maybe this is a sentimental choice here, but nonetheless, I think he does deserve to be on this list, and this is Steve McNair, the 3rd overall selection on Alcorn State. Easy for me to say, in the 1995 NFL draft. When you look at Steve McNair, his statistics were not the greatest compared to the peers of his time. He never led the league in passing yards. He never led the league in passing touchdowns. He was never an All-Pro. He was only a 3-time All-Pro at the position in 11 years with Tennessee. But you're talking about a guy who had a career 76-55 record as a starter that took the Titans to the playoffs on 4 different occasions. He was the 2003 NFL Most Valuable Player, and he took the Titans to the Super Bowl in the 1999 season, where they were basically 1 yard short from potentially beating the greatest show on turf, the St. Louis Rams, and maybe potentially winning the Super Bowl. Steve McNair, one of those really, really good players that I had a tremendous amount of respect for. It's a shame he put himself in a position for his life to end the way that it did. But at the end of the day, this is still a great player and a very significant and important player in the history of the Tennessee Titans, especially as they moved out of Houston. They needed to establish themselves. They needed a face of the franchise as they moved to a new city, and Steve McNair stepped in and filled that role. And I think for many reasons, to me, belongs on this top 5 list, and hence why I put him at number 5. Now, number 4. We're talking about a player off of those Bum Phillips teams of the late 70s, and a lot of people are going to sit there and say, well, why not put an Elvin Bethea on there when he's already in the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Well, the reason is I think Robert Brazile, the outside linebacker, was a better football player and is a glaring omission from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He played 10 seasons for the Oilers from 75 to 84. He was a 7-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro. He was a 1975 NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. This was one of the really, truly solid all-around outside linebackers of his time that unfortunately has slipped through the cracks over the years. Didn't help that he was playing in the same conference as somebody like a Jack Ham, an outside linebacker, but Robert Brazile takes a back seat to almost nobody. He was a hell of a player, and to me, the best defensive player on those Oilers teams of the mid to late 70s and into the early 80s, and that's why he's number 4 on my list. Number 3, I will go with the greatest quarterback in the history of the organization, Warren Moon. A funny thing about Warren Moon, he didn't start off in the NFL until the age of 28. He came out of Washington, he was undrafted. He goes up to the CFL and does all types of magical things up there, wins Grey Cups, you name it. Comes down, finally gets an opportunity in 1984 with the Houston Oilers at age 28. And in his 10 seasons, he made them count. He was a 6-time Pro Bowler, a 2-time league leader in passing yardage. He took the Oilers to 6 different playoff appearances in the span of 7 seasons. He helped change the league because of his abilities as an accurate pocket passer to be able to run that run-and-shoot offense, which really helped to slowly open up the NFL once and for all and make it more of a pass-first league. Well, those run-and-shoot teams of Warren Moon in Houston in the late 80s, early 90s definitely helped that. Warren Moon, a tremendous player, first ballot Hall of Famer, and he'll always be known by everyone as a Houston Oiler first and foremost. Greatest quarterback in the history of the organization. Number 3 on this list. Number 2, the most dominant player in the history of this organization is not even close, and that's Earl Campbell. You're talking about a guy that in his 6+ seasons in Houston, he made him count. He was a 5-time Pro Bowler, three-time first-team All-Pro. You could make the argument that along with maybe Eric Dickerson, he had the best statistical first 3 years that an NFL running back has ever had in history. Earl Campbell came into the league and he fucked shit up. He had 5 seasons of over 1,300 yards, not 1,000 yards. Every year that he went over 1,000, it was over 1,300 yards. 5 seasons over 1,300 yards. I think about his season, I believe it was in 1980, where he rushed for like 1,935 yards and played in only 15 games. Imagine if he would have played in that 16th game. He would have been the one to break O.J. Simpson's record before an Eric Dickerson did. Just tremendous. He was a 3-time league leader in rushing yards, a 2-time league leader in rushing touchdowns, the 1979 NFL AP Most Valuable Player, a 2-time NFL Pro Football Writers of Association MVP, a 3-time NFL AP Offensive Player of the Year, 3 straight years to begin his career in 1978, 79, and 1980. Earl Campbell, a phenomenal talent and a beast of a man and a beast of a running back, and belongs at number 2 on this list as the most dominant player in the history of the organization. But ultimately, the best player is none other than Bruce Matthews. And you're talking about a guy that was a part of that great 1983 draft class that spent 19 seasons with this organization. He was a holdover from the Houston days. He made it through to the Tennessee Titan days. And during his 19 seasons, you're talking about a guy that was a 14-time Pro Bowler, record for most ever, a 7-time All-Pro. And the amazing thing about it to me is that he was an All-Pro and Pro Bowler at 3 different positions, at right guard, center, and then later on in his career at left guard. This was a guy that at one point in time played all 5 offensive line positions, one of the most versatile offensive linemen in the history of the National Football League, and one of the best, most consistent linemen over a long period of time in the history of the National Football League. Tennessee Titans, Houston Oilers record holder for 296 games played in his career. To me, at the end of the day, he transcended Campbell and Moon and Brazile and McNair and all the others. And I think ultimately he is the Tennessee Titan of Tennessee Titan, the Houston Oiler of Houston Oilers, and he is the greatest player in the history of the Tennessee Titans organization. Again, you're welcome to chime in with your thoughts. Let me know what you think of my list. Let me know what your list of 5 greatest Tennessee Titans / Houston Oilers would be. I'd love to see. I got one more video in this series to do, and that's the Washington Redskins. So stay tuned. Get that one, and then I'll move on to other things on the Schleg Daddy TV channel.